why you're still poor, and always will be. You're still poor. And if that sentence triggered you, good. Let it hurt. Because until the pain of staying the same becomes stronger than the fear of change, you will stay exactly where you are. Broke, frustrated, and secretly ashamed of the life you've built. But let's be clear, this isn't bad luck. This isn't your childhood. This isn't about circumstances. This is about you, your habits, your mindset, your refusal to take control. You don't need another motivational quote. You need to be slapped awake by reality. And here it is. Your poverty is not a problem. It's a choice. You chose it when you hit snooze instead of rising early to build something. You chose it when you spent hours scrolling through fake success while ignoring your own potential. You chose it when you let a temporary emotion become a permanent excuse. And before you say, "But I work hard," working hard isn't enough. Slaves worked hard. Soldiers in the wrong army worked hard. What matters is what you're working on and why. Because poor people stay poor not from lack of effort, but from effort pointed in the wrong direction, toward survival, not domination, toward looking busy, not building wealth. Let's get brutally honest. You're afraid, not just of failing, of succeeding, because success demands a death of the old you, the lazy you, the distracted you. The version of you that's addicted to comfort and allergic to pressure. That version has to die. And you know it. But instead, you numb yourself. With food, with Netflix, with Instagram dopamine hits. You tell yourself you're planning, preparing, figuring it out. But deep down, you know, you're hiding. From the weight of your own potential. From the work required to rise. And every time you hide, poverty wins. Napoleon Hill said, "The ladder of success is never crowded at the top." You know why? Because most people never even take the first step. They talk, they dream, they envy, but they never decide. They want the benefits of wealth without the sacrifice of becoming worthy of it. That's not how the universe works. You don't get what you want. You get what you're willing to become. Look at your current life, your room, your clothes, your bank account. They are not a reflection of the world. They are a reflection of your standards, your rituals, your identity, your repeated decisions. You think you're poor because of what you lack, but the truth is, you're poor because of what you tolerate. And let me say something that will sting, because you need to hear it. You don't hate poverty enough. You say you want more, but you make peace with less. You fantasize about success, but you flirt with failure every night before bed. You allow laziness to sleep next to you, comfort to kiss your forehead, and doubt to whisper in your ear, "It's okay. Tomorrow's another day." No, that lie ends now. Tomorrow is not promised, and even if it comes, you won't magically be more disciplined. You won't suddenly become ruthless. If you don't become that today, now, in this breath, it'll be just another day where you almost changed your life, and didn't. Do you want to know the real reason why you're still poor? It's not because you're unlucky. It's because you never got angry enough to do something about it. The rich aren't smarter. They're hungrier, more obsessed, more willing to lose, bleed, break, rebuild. They make enemies with mediocrity. They burn the bridge back to comfort. They don't need the world's permission to rise. They declare war on their own excuses. And you've been negotiating with yours. You keep trying to balance life, trying to stay comfortable while becoming powerful. That's not balance. That's delusion. Nobody becomes a king while living like a servant. No general ever won a war trying to be liked by his enemies. And no one, absolutely no one, ever built a legacy while seeking comfort over greatness. You're poor because your rituals are poor. You're broke because your focus is broken. You're stuck because you keep running from the mirror instead of using it as a weapon. Want to change that? Then it's time to kill the myth that you can keep being you and still have more. You can't. The current version of you isn't broke by accident. He's broke by design. He was programmed to be average, raised to be obedient, trained to be small. And unless you overwrite that programming, nothing changes. That's why this isn't about money. It's about power, inner power. The kind that makes you wake up early when it hurts. The kind that makes you say no to distractions even when your brain is begging for relief. The kind that doesn't need applause, validation, or anyone's approval. That's what separates the rich from the rest. And until you develop that kind of self-command, your bank account will always reflect your lack of control. Now listen closely, because this is the part most people ignore, and it's the reason they never escape. Being poor is addictive, not the lack of money, the identity it creates, the victim mentality, the emotional justification, the community of excuses. It makes you feel like you're not alone, like it's not your fault, like you're somehow noble for struggling. But that's not nobility. That's self-destruction dressed as virtue. And you have to decide, are you done? Because I promise you this, as long as you make room in your life for weakness, for delay, for distractions, for cheap comforts, you are building your own poverty, brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. But if something in you is ready to break free, to kill the version of you that's been quietly sabotaging everything you want, then good. You want everything to change, but you're not willing to change everything. That's the paradox that keeps you poor. You're still bargaining with your old self, still trying to keep the friends who pull you down, still giving time to the apps that rot your brain, still clinging to that voice in your head whispering, just take it easy. You've done enough. Done enough? Compared to what? Who gave you that certificate of completion? Your comfort zone? Let me tell you the truth your ego refuses to hear. Your life is your scoreboard, and right now, you're losing. Your bank account is your scoreboard. Your energy, your discipline, your calendar, your physique, your words, all of it reflects your level of war against mediocrity. And guess what? Life doesn't grade on a curve. There are no participation trophies in the real world. You either rise, or you get stepped on by those who do. Still with me? Good, because now we go deeper. Let me show you how poverty hides in your identity, in the way you talk, walk, breathe. How you start sentences with, I can't, or maybe someday. How you lower your voice in rooms where you should stand tall. How you dress like someone who's accepted invisibility. How you move like someone who expects to be rejected. It's not the world rejecting you. It's you rejecting your own power every single day. Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But you don't even conceive. You consume. You distract. You mimic. You imitate. But you do not imagine. You do not command. You do not create. And that's the tragedy. Because deep down, you know you were built for more. You feel it at 2 a.m. when everything's quiet and your soul starts to scream. You feel it when you see someone doing what you know you could do. And instead of rising, you shrink. You call them lucky, privileged, gifted. But the truth? They just decided. They decided faster, harder, with more blood in their eyes than fear in their chest. You think it's about talent. It's not. It's about identity. Winners see themselves as inevitable. Losers see themselves as victims of circumstance. And every time you repeat the same weak identity, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not ready yet, you are wiring poverty into your subconscious. Let's rip that wiring out. Right now, starting today, you build a new identity. Not by writing it on a vision board, but by becoming it. By stacking small, violent wins. By making your mornings non-negotiable. By choosing pain over pleasure, on purpose. By turning your life into a training ground instead of a waiting room. You think discipline is hard? No. Poverty is hard. Regret is hard. Waking up in your 50s realizing you never lived is hard. Pick your pain, because either you sacrifice now or you suffer later. There is no third option. And for the record, this isn't about getting rich to buy a car, or flex on Instagram, or impress people who don't even matter. This is about earning your own respect. Looking in the mirror and seeing a weapon, not a warning. This is about becoming the kind of person your younger self needed. The kind of person who breaks the curse for your bloodline. Who rewires the entire future of your name. Do you even understand the weight of that? Or are you still thinking small? Still checking your phone every 5 minutes like there's a lifeline inside of it? Still watching others build while you just watch? That stops here. From now on, every scroll is an act of self-sabotage. Every delay is another scar on your legacy. Every time you say later, the universe hears never. Because the truth is, you don't need more time. You need more intensity. You don't need another planner. You need a personality shift. You don't need more tips. You need transformation. And transformation is violent. It doesn't ask permission. It breaks routines, burns bridges, destroys comfort. You don't get to add success to your current self. You have to kill your current self and rebuild from the rubble. The version of you watching this video, he doesn't make it. He's weak. He's temporary. He's the warm-up act. The one who had to die so the real you could rise. Napoleon Hill warned that the world belongs to those who have a definiteness of purpose. But you can't have purpose when your mind is cluttered with the noise of doubt, fear, and passive consumption. So the first war is not out there. It's inside, in your thoughts, in your impulses, in your morning decisions. That's where destiny is made, or broken. So here's your new religion. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not a mentor, not your friends, not your job, not some motivational speaker. If you don't grab your life by the throat and demand something greater, it will bury you quietly while you scroll. Do you feel that tension in your chest right now? That's not anxiety. That's your old self gasping for air. Good. Let it suffocate. Now stand up, right now. No music, no caffeine, just decision. Decide who the hell you're going to become. And act accordingly. Act accordingly. Because right now, you're living like a background character in your own movie. Drifting through scenes someone else wrote. Speaking lines someone else taught you. And deep down, you hate it. You hate the fakeness of your days. The emptiness of your achievements. The way you laugh when nothing's funny. Numb when life demands passion. Silent when your soul is screaming for a fight. Let me break it to you gently. You were never meant to be average. And that's why you're miserable. Because you've been force-feeding yourself mediocrity for years, pretending it's normal. You've convinced yourself that survival is success, that weekends are freedom, that coping is thriving. But your spirit knows the truth. And that's why you feel that dull, suffocating ache every morning when your alarm goes off. That's not depression. That's misalignment. You're not depressed. You're disconnected from purpose. You're not tired. You're uninspired. You're not unlucky. You're undisciplined. And if you keep telling yourself otherwise, you'll never wake up. Napoleon Hill said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." But most people never harvest that seed because they're too busy feeling sorry for themselves to plant anything real. You want the benefit without planting. You want the reward without the roots. You want results without rituals. And that's why you're still poor. In your bank, in your mindset, in your spirit. Because poverty isn't just about money. It's about identity. A poor identity says, "I'll try." A rich identity says, "I'll win or die trying." A poor identity waits for motivation. A rich identity manufactures it. A poor identity blames. A rich identity owns everything. The good, the bad, the broken, the ugly. So stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming your job. Stop blaming your ex. If they were the real problem, you'd be free by now. Because they're gone. The only thing still here is you. And you know what? That's not a curse. That's a gift. Because if you're the problem, then you're also the solution. And that means your comeback is in your hands. But hear me clearly. No comeback happens on accident. You don't stumble into greatness. You train for it. You bleed for it. You schedule it. You make it part of your identity. Not something you hope to feel. Something you are. Let me ask you something dangerous. When was the last time you scared yourself? When was the last time you attempted something so big, so audacious, so demanding, that you felt like you might pass out from the pressure? If you can't remember, you're already dying. Not physically, mentally, spiritually. And that's the worst kind of death. The kind where your body still walks, but your ambition is already 6 feet deep. You want to change your life? Then stop doing what doesn't scare you. Start chasing fear. Hunt down the things that make your hands sweat and your voice shake. Because that's where your future is hiding. Behind the curtain of everything you're avoiding. And don't you dare wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for more money, more confidence, more clarity. You don't get clarity before action. You get it through action. You want more money? Act like someone who deserves it. You want power? Speak like someone who owns it. You want freedom? Wake up and earn it. Because every day you wake up and act like the same version of you, you're casting a vote for poverty. You are reaffirming the idea that you are not worthy of more, that your limits are facts, that your weakness is permanent. And those are lies, vicious, deadly lies you've been telling yourself so long, they feel like truth. But here's the good news. Beliefs can be replaced, rewritten, reprogrammed. That's what this channel is. That's what these words are. They're not entertainment. They're a weapon. And I'm handing it to you. But I won't swing it for you. You've got to lift it yourself. Because no one is coming. There is no next video that will finally change you. No perfect sentence. No magical hack. Only this. Get up. Get angry. Get disciplined. And stay that way. Not for a week. Not until it's hard. Forever. Because this isn't a phase. It's a new identity. One you choose. One you build. One you protect. Every day. Against every excuse, every voice, every weak version of yourself that tries to claw back into your skin. Because he will come back. The lazy you. The doubting you. The victim you. He'll return in your weakest hour, whispering, "It's okay to stop." That's when you double down. That's when you go harder. That's when you remember this exact moment, and who the hell you said you were becoming. You can't afford to forget. Not now. Because we're just getting started. We're just getting started. Because now comes the real war. Not the kind you fight with fists, but with focus. With fire. With that cold, relentless decision that you're not going to be average ever again. The war where the enemy isn't outside. It's living inside you. You want to know why you're still poor? Look in the mirror. That man you see, he's a negotiator, a compromiser. A man who plays nice with his own weakness. He talks about big goals but whispers when it's time to act. He lets emotions decide what discipline should command. That man isn't poor by mistake. He's poor by permission. Your permission. And that ends now. From this point forward, every excuse that leaves your mouth should taste like poison. Every moment of hesitation should burn. Every lazy thought should feel like betrayal. Because it is. You're betraying your future every time you delay your dominance. Let me say something harsh. Not because I want to break you, but because I want to build you. You're not broke because the system is unfair. You're broke because you keep folding when life pushes. Life pushes everybody. It doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about your background. You're not special. Not yet. Special people earn that status by fighting through hell and refusing to surrender their standard. You want to feel special? Then bleed like it. Wake up early. Go to war with your comfort. Say no to the people who mock your vision. Study when others sleep. Build when others party. Lead when others follow. Do the hard thing until it becomes your reflex. Do you understand the power you would have if you stopped needing to be in the mood? That's where domination lives. On the other side of mood. The side where you act like a machine. Where you execute on command, regardless of how you feel. Because your feelings are liars. They're cowards. They're saboteurs sent by the old you to keep you poor. You think wealth is about math, about markets, about lucky breaks? No. Wealth is about control. Control over your impulses, control over your time, control over your reactions, and most of all, control over the voice in your head that keeps telling you you're not enough. You hear that voice? Good. Now talk back. Not with words, with action. When it says you're too tired, get up and train. When it says you deserve a break, double your output. When it says you'll never be like them, smile. Because that means you're about to become something they could never touch. Napoleon Hill taught that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. But you hesitate. You bounce. You let one bad day ruin a week. You let one negative comment cancel a dream. That's not failure. That's self-abandonment. And the more you abandon yourself, the easier it gets. That's how poverty wins. Not with one big defeat, but with 1,000 tiny surrenders. You think you'll wake up one day and suddenly be ready? You won't. There's no perfect day, no magical sunrise, no cosmic signal. There's just now, this moment, this breath, this line in the sand where the man you used to be dies, and the man you decided to become walks out of the fire. You want to know what's really keeping you broke? You're still asking for permission. You're waiting for the right tools, the right partner, the right timing, the right energy. You want success to feel safe, comfortable, aligned with your schedule. But success isn't polite. It's invasive, it's violent. It will take everything from you. Your sleep, your comfort, your fake friends, your identity. And if you fight for it, it will give you everything in return. But only after it knows you're serious. You serious? Then start acting like it. Get ruthless about your schedule. Get militant with your mind. Get sick of your old excuses. You're not some broken soul waiting to be fixed. You are a weapon being forged. And the hammer is every uncomfortable moment you're willing to endure without quitting. Don't confuse softness with strength. You don't need more love right now. You need fire. You need to rage against the habits that are stealing your legacy. You need to be willing to suffer for the next 5 years so you can live free for the next 50. Because make no mistake, you will suffer. The only question is, will it be the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? Choose. Because time is choosing for you whether you act or not. It's slipping. Every second you hesitate, someone hungrier is moving. Someone who wants it more. Someone who doesn't care how tired they are. Someone who bleeds for it. And when that person shows up on the battlefield of life, guess who gets crushed? The one who wasn't in the mood. The one who needed another week. The one who was still figuring things out. That ends now. Right now. Decide that your poverty ends today. And back that decision with violence. Mental violence. Spiritual violence. Emotional violence against every thought that wants to keep you small. You're not here to cope. You're here to conquer. And you've wasted too much time pretending that your old life deserves to survive. You've wasted too much time pretending that your old life deserves to survive. And yet, every time things get uncomfortable, you hesitate. You retreat. You choose safety over sacrifice. And that hesitation? That's poverty in disguise. It's not the lack of money that keeps you broke. It's the hesitation to become violent against your own mediocrity. You don't need more comfort. You need confrontation. So let me confront you. If someone followed you around with a camera for 24 hours, would they say, that person is becoming rich? Or would they see distraction, doubt, delay? If Napoleon Hill sat beside you at your desk for 1 hour, would he be impressed or ashamed? Would he see definiteness of purpose? Or a man drifting in circles, full of dreams but no structure? Would he see applied faith? Or a man praying for change but too lazy to create it? Would he see burning desire, or a spark that fizzles out the second discomfort shows up? Because make no mistake, the principles he wrote in Think and Grow Rich still rule the world. The only difference is, some people apply them, and some people just quote them. Which one are you? You still think the problem is the world. It's not. The problem is that your standard is trash. You tolerate mediocrity in your diet, in your friends, in your habits, in your thoughts. You keep saying, I'm doing my best, but your best has never been tested, because your best only shows up after you bleed, after you burn, after you bury the version of yourself that keeps making excuses for every failure you swore you wouldn't repeat. Let's make this real, right now. What's one thing in your life that you've been tolerating? Something you know is killing your momentum, but you keep feeding it like a pet. Is it your addiction to comfort food? Your obsession with what people think? Your lazy sleep schedule? Your dopamine-dead TikTok loop that eats hours of your life? Whatever it is, if it's not making you richer in mindset, spirit, or bank, it's killing you. Slowly, silently, but killing you nonetheless. You can't outwork a weak identity. You can't out-hustle self-sabotage. At some point you have to kill the poison, or the poison kills your potential. So here's the new standard. If it doesn't serve your future, it doesn't survive today. If it doesn't serve your future, it doesn't deserve your time. Now let's get even more real. You say you want to be wealthy, but how do you treat your money? Like a servant to your impulses, or a soldier you deploy with precision? Do you track your income daily? Do you know your net worth? Do you study wealth like a language you must master? Or do you spend without thought, scroll without learning, and hope that one day something just works out? That's not a strategy. That's surrender. You don't get to hope anymore. From this moment on, you command. You lead your money. You lead your time. You lead your mornings. You lead your body. You lead your decisions. Because the man who leads himself becomes ungovernable by circumstance. That's the target. You want freedom? You must become ungovernable. You want respect? You must become unshakable. You want riches? You must become unrecognizable to the man you've been. And that means, starting today, every action must bleed with purpose. You don't eat for taste. You eat for power. You don't read for fun. You read for war. You don't sleep to escape. You sleep to reload. You treat your mind like a temple under siege. Because it is. Every scroll, every ad, every voice that tells you it's okay to rest today. You've already done enough. You're just human. Those are enemies. And if you don't kill the noise will kill your legacy. You are not here to be just human. You are here to become something the world never saw coming. And let me tell you something no one else will. The world does not care about your pain. It doesn't care about your backstory. It doesn't care how hard it's been. All the world respects is results. So stop rehearsing your excuses. Start rehearsing dominance. Rehearse intensity. Rehearse decision. Rehearse war. You are not poor because of what happened to you. You are poor because you refuse to respond with power. So respond. Now. Wake up with blood in your mouth and burn in your chest. Plan your day like you're building a dynasty. Walk like every step has a price tag on it. Speak like your words shape kingdoms. Because they do. And if you're still asking, but what if I fail? Let me answer with brutal clarity. You already failed. Every time you betrayed your potential for comfort. You already lost. Every time you said later and meant never. You already died. When you gave your fear more power than your fire. Now it's time to rise. Because if you don't, you'll look back in 10 years and realize this moment was your final warning. Don't waste it. This is your last warning. Because if after everything you heard, you still scroll to the next video, still check your notifications, still chase short-term dopamine while your long-term destiny bleeds out on the floor, then congratulations. You're not poor by circumstance. You're poor by choice. Let that sink in. You chose this life. You chose to keep sleeping in. You chose to keep lying to yourself. You chose to surround yourself with people who applaud your excuses. You chose to treat potential like a toy instead of a weapon. And until you stop choosing that, you will always lose. Your poverty isn't a punishment. It's a mirror. A reflection of every small decision you've made. And every bold one you refuse to. So if you're angry right now, good. You should be. You should be enraged at how much you've wasted. Because while you were binge-watching mediocrity, someone else built an empire in silence. While you were numbing yourself with comfort, someone else was sharpening themselves with chaos. While you were waiting for motivation, someone else was becoming a machine. And that someone will pass you. In money, in mindset, in legacy. And you will watch. And you will hate. But deep down you'll know. It was never them. It was always you. You let life put you on hold. You let distractions become your diet. You let the soft voice in your head win every single argument. You let your potential starve. But today, right now, you can decide that ends. How? Not by feeling inspired, not by taking notes, not by saving this video for later, but by acting. Now, you stand up. You write it on your wall. You scream it in your mirror. You move like a man who has nothing left to lose. Because that's what poverty really is. The absence of movement. So move. Turn your phone off. Burn the plan B. Look yourself in the eyes and declare war on every version of you that's ever held you back. Say it. Loud. I am not that man anymore. I am not the victim. I am not the watcher. I am not the almost. I am the decision. I am the act. I am the sacrifice. Because here's the truth they won't tell you. Success doesn't come to the most gifted. It comes to the most aggressive, to the most obsessed, to the ones who stop waiting to feel ready and start bleeding forward. So bleed. Every morning, every hour, every set, every page, every deal. Bleed until comfort feels like poison. Bleed until your old self dies and the new you is undeniable. Napoleon Hill wrote, You are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. You've heard that 1,000 times, but you've never lived it. Start living it now, because this is your line in the sand. Cross it, and there's no going back. Now listen carefully. This is your final command. If you're truly done living small, if you're truly ready to kill the weak identity that's kept you broke, then write this in the comments. I am the last generation of my poverty. That phrase is a contract, and once you write it, the clock starts. No turning back, no halfway effort, no 1 foot in. And if you're serious, if you're ready to bleed, then do this. Subscribe to this channel. This is no motivation station. This is war. Here, you'll receive a mental assault every single week, made to reprogram your identity, tear down your weakness, and sharpen your instincts. Share this video with someone who talks big, but moves small. Someone with massive dreams, but microscopic discipline. Someone who's one decision away from becoming unstoppable. Because sometimes the only difference between failure and rebirth is hearing the right voice at the right moment with a message you can't ignore. And you know this was it. So don't scroll, don't flinch, don't forget. You've just been called out. Now prove the world wrong. And more importantly, prove yourself right.